On August 6, 2025, President Donald Trump shocked the world by slapping a massive 50% tariff on all Indian imports. No warning, no negotiation, just a sudden, sweeping move. The decision sent global markets into chaos and instantly soured US-India relations, a partnership built over decades. This was one of the harshest tariffs ever imposed on a major US trading partner, leaving businesses in both countries scrambling. A tariff is a tax on imported goods, so a 50% tariff means American buyers pay half again as much for Indian products. The result? Indian goods became unaffordable overnight, threatening entire industries in India and raising prices for American consumers. The move was widely seen as punitive, not protective, a political weapon, not just an economic tool. Just months earlier, Trump had doubled tariffs on steel and aluminum, angering allies worldwide. But this time, the target was India, a nation the US had long courted as a strategic partner. The fallout was immediate. Indian exporters faced ruin, US companies saw costs spike, and economists warned of a looming trade war. The decision wasn't just about trade, it threatened to unravel years of careful diplomacy between the world's two largest democracies. The world was left asking, what triggered such a drastic, risky move? The answer would prove as complex as the consequences. The backlash in Washington was fierce and bipartisan. President Trump's tariff shattered the consensus that India was a vital US ally in Asia. Ro Khanna, co-chair of the US-India caucus, called it a five-alarm fire, warning it would hurt both Indian exporters and American manufacturers. Former officials from both parties slammed the move as reckless, with Jake Sullivan accusing Trump of putting personal interests above national strategy. Nikki Haley, ex-UN ambassador, urged de-escalation, reminding everyone that India was key to countering China. The House Foreign Affairs Committee condemned the tariffs, calling them damaging to Americans and the US-India relationship. The rare unity of criticism showed this wasn't seen as tough negotiation, it was viewed as a strategic blunder. The public debate turned toxic, with Khanna facing racist attacks online, exposing deep divisions in American politics. Trump's advisors, including Peter Navarro, faced calls for resignation after inflammatory remarks about India, further inflaming tensions. The administration's India policy was now a political crisis at home. With the political storm raging, questions swirled about Trump's true motives. Critics claimed the tariffs were retaliation, sparked by reports that India's Prime Minister Modi refused to nominate Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize, while Pakistan's leaders did. The theory gained traction after a brief India-Pakistan war, which Trump claimed to have helped end, and a White House lunch for Pakistan's army chief that angered New Delhi. Allegations surfaced about Trump family business ties to Pakistan, including a major crypto deal just months before the tariffs. Was US foreign policy being shaped by personal slights and private profit? For India, the message was clear. Its partnership with the US was now hostage to unpredictable personal politics. The relationship had never felt more unstable. In India, the tariffs were seen as a betrayal, an act of bullying by a supposed ally. The move forced India to rethink its alliances, pushing it closer to Russia and China. At a Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit, Modi was seen warmly engaging with Putin and Xi, alarming Western observers. India's leaders felt sidelined and insulted, especially after being equated with Pakistan following a terror-linked conflict. Strengthening ties with the SCO and BRICS became a strategic necessity for India. Officially, India kept the door open for talks, but trust was shattered. Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal expressed hope for a trade deal, but few believed relations could return to normal. Behind the scenes, India was already hedging its bets, seeking new partners. The US-India alliance was on the brink. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, saw the US move as a threat to them all. They called an emergency summit signaling a new era of political unity and resistance to American economic pressure. The bloc discussed counter-tariffs, trading in local currencies, and deepening internal ties to reduce reliance on the US dollar. The summit marked a turning point. BRICS was no longer just an economic forum but a political force challenging US dominance. The US-India dispute had become a global confrontation, with over 40% of the world's population now united in opposition. The message was clear. Unilateral American actions would be met with collective resistance. The global balance of power was shifting, fast. The world was watching and the stakes had never been higher. Trump's tariff war wasn't just about trade. It was a turning point for global alliances. The US-India relationship, once a pillar of Indo-Pacific stability, was now deeply strained. India's pivot to Russia and China carried huge strategic consequences for the US. The crisis exposed the fragility of alliances built on personal politics, not shared values. BRICS' united response signaled the rise of a multipolar world, less dependent on the US dollar and American leadership. The fallout was global: higher prices, disrupted supply chains, and a new era of uncertainty. The world now faced a choice: cooperation and mutual respect, or conflict and division. The decisions made in the wake of this crisis would shape the future for billions.